How's it going, everybody? Today is the Monday after the PD2 season start, and I want to do a quick video on my progression on my character so far. I did do a video on my normal progression. That's where I think most of my time was actually spent on Friday going into Saturday. That's where most of the build difficulty came from, was just getting everything online and getting levels. So take a look at that video if you haven't seen it already. And the video today is going to be talking about the progression from normal all the way actually through till the end of hell difficulty. I stayed in normal till probably about level 40, 45-ish. And then that's when I entered Nightmare. So by that point, I had a decent amount of levels and a decent amount of skills in order to be able to basically cruise through Nightmare. So Nightmare difficulty was actually extremely easy. I blasted on through all the way through till the end of Nightmare difficulty without too many issues. I stayed in Nightmare difficulty till probably about level 70 or so. I was just doing a bunch of bail runs over and over and over again. Didn't really get too many items, just was trying to farm levels before I go into Hell difficulty. So really, not too many changes from the original day one video all the way up through to Nightmare difficulty. Once I got into Hell difficulty, that's when kind of everything changed. So once I got into Hell difficulty, I think I had maybe about 10 resistances across the board in like negative poison res. And I felt extremely squishy, very, very squishy. I was kind of running for my life the entire time. I didn't die at all in Nightmare difficulty, but I actually died a couple of times in Hell difficulty because I was just getting swarmed way too much while teleporting into unknown areas. My advice to you is if you don't have max res, or if you don't have a decent amount of resistances going to Hell difficulty, take it a little slow, and then you don't have to worry too much about that. Still ended up getting through and completing Hell difficulty without too many issues. The only issue that I encountered was there were two times where I had problems with Phys and Fire immune mobs. So the Meteor skill does Phys and Fire damage, and my Mercenary also does Phys damage. So if it was Phys and Fire, there were some issues going through that. I did a couple of things in order to mitigate that. So first thing was I ended up grabbing a lower res wand. So I had lower res charges on my offhand. So cursing the monsters with lower res that were Fire and Phys immune helped out a lot. And then also on top of using the lower res wand, I would drop a firewall and then also hit them with an Inferno, because Inferno also does lower enemy fire res. Combination of the lower res wand charges and also a high level Inferno was able to get me through a couple of tight spots when it came to monster immunities. So just keep that in mind. You might have to do that if you're just fully speccing into Meteor. So those were the only really major issues that I had to encounter. The biggest one was one of the council members in Travancore. So that's when I went around and tried to figure out, oh, what can I do to solve that? So going into the skills real quick, not too many changes from my original plan. Like I said on the original normal difficulty video, I was going to max out Meteor, and then I was going to max out Fire Mastery. So I did that. After that, I maxed out Blaze. I have been using Blaze quite a bit to move around quicker and make sure that I am on, and to make sure that I proc cannot be frozen. So that's been very nice. And then I maxed out Inferno after that. Once again, I was using Inferno to break Fire immune and Phys immune monsters, because sometimes you get both. At this point, I'm maxing out Fireball, which is going to be the last synergy for the Meteor. On the other skill trees, no other changes, still have teleport. I did put 2 points once I got my Hell Izual. I put those 2 points in to get Shiver Armor, just to get a little bit more defense. I don't know, somebody suggested it in chat, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Might as well just grab Shiver Armor, and it was only 2 points. Been using Shiver Armor periodically, so that's pretty much it for the skill changes. Currently sitting at level 82. All my stats have been into Vitality and Strength and Dex where necessary. I have a pretty high amount of Dexterity because of some of the gear choices that I made, so let's go ahead and jump into the gear. From normal difficulty, I actually used this stealth armor all the way up until the end of Hell. I was using this lore helm for quite a bit, and then I got a peasant's crown drop. This was actually, I got this drop in Nightmare difficulty, I believe, which is basically the same thing as lore. There's no lightning res on it. It still has the same all skills. The difference is it's got a socket. So I just punched a hole in it, put a P topaz in there, and called it a day. And also I did do what I was talking about on the original video, where I said I would try to just put a shield on and use this hex fire. So I ended up getting a couple of Lum runes. I actually had more than one Lum rune. Picked up a Grim Shield, put the Ethlem in there to get a Splendor. And then, this is basically what I used from that normal difficulty guide in order to get through to Hell. Going to the gloves, really not many changes. Just put another pair of gloves that had some FCR and some res on there. This will probably be my next upgrade. I haven't traded yet, so putting something like a Mage Fist in here would be awesome. Rings, I've just been getting res on rings all over the place. I did end up getting a 38 Nagel ring, so I'm gonna try to fit this into the build at some point, but right now I'm just trying to keep my res at a decent level. Other ring is, once again, just some res and some magic find, so didn't really change anything here. Rings have a big opportunity to make some improvements there. Boots, ended up picking up these boots with some 30% FRW with some res, so this has been kind of nice. Kind of want to get some magic find on the boots, but these I picked up off the ground and they're doing pretty good. Belt, I did a couple of crafts, and I picked up the belt base and I was like, oh, let's take a look and see if I can get some magic find craft on there. So I did an MF craft on here. Ended up just getting like a little bit of fire res and then some magic find on there. Amulet, ended up picking up a FCR Sorc skill level amulet off the ground. Had some fire res and some mana, which is really nice. And then the last two items were actually pretty big drops for me. Once again, I was using stealth until the end of Hell difficulty, and then while I was farming Pit, I got a Viper Magi drop. It rolled pretty okay on the res, so I swapped in the Viper Magi, punched a hole in it, put another Topaz in it to get some more magic find. Once I got the Viper Magi, my res became significantly higher than what it was before, and it made farming Hell difficulty way easier. At about 50 res, I've been switching gear around with some random items that I've been picking up, but I think around 50 res on LOD content was more than enough for me to feel safe. The next item that I upgraded after the Hexfire was actually this wand here. So the Hexfire is +2 fire skills. This wand I picked up, once again, I did a magic find craft on there. Ended up getting +1 all skills of the fire skill damage. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna be better than +2 skills. And I was like, let me just throw it on and see if I'll even notice a difference. I did not notice a difference whatsoever. So I was like, let's just keep using this for the magic find. I've been using this, I used this weapon for most of yesterday. And then towards the end of the day yesterday, I picked up another wand here, which I once again did a magic find craft on, and then it ended up rolling this kind of crazy looking wand for a cold Sorc. So +1 all skills, +1 Sorc skills, cold skill damage, negative enemy cold res. I don't know if that enemy cold res applies to spell casting, but it's on there. If anybody knows, let me know. I have no clue. And then it has a +3 cold mastery, so it's a pretty crazy one. The only other thing that I'll talk about in terms of gearing is I did get another circlet that had +2 Sorc skill levels, and it has some energy. I don't know if I'm going to swap in from the Peasant Crown. I could just punch a hole in this and then just use this. I did corrupt it to see if I could get a couple of sockets on there, but it rolled the indestructible and the enhanced defense. So I think that's what's going to be my next switch over. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I think I wanted the faster run walk, but this will probably be the next item that I switch over to. Going into the Mercenary, I actually rolled a couple, I actually picked up quite a few items for my Mercenary. Got a Vamp Gaze, which is really good, so I've been using the Vamp Gaze quite a bit. I also got an Andariel's Visage. I was like, maybe I could throw this on the Merc too. I don't know what's better, because the Andariel's Visage has IAS and has lifesteal, but the Vamp Gaze also has the lifesteal as well, but it has PDR. So I was like, maybe the PDR is going to end up being better. I'm not sure. I'll try both. If anybody has any ideas on what would actually end up being better, let me know. I mean, it's got that giant strength roll, which would probably help getting attributes in order to get higher base types to be equipped. I'd have to punch a hole in this and get some fire res. It's got negative fire res. But yeah, if anybody has any ideas on Andariel's Visage versus Vamp Gaze, the feedback was pretty split on my chat, so I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. I just kept using the Vamp Gaze. Body armor was just some random rare body armor that I picked up. Belt, I got an IK belt. Threw this on. It's got some res and some strength in order to be able to help me equip weapons. Got Tear Haunch as the boots. I needed this mainly just for the strength, and then giving him all res, and then I have these gloves here. Put these gloves on because they had increased attack speed. And then on the weapon, I actually made a couple of different insight bases. So I was using the CV insight. This was my very first attempt at rolling an insight base, and rolled a level 14 meditation and some decent amount of enhanced damage. I was like, okay, well, just use this until the end of hell difficulty. And then I picked up quite a few threshers to see if I could 4-socket them. When I was doing my cube recipes, the servers actually went down at one point, so I went through 4 threshers, and then the servers went down and I got rolled back. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what happens if I do the socket recipe again. Is it going to give me the same sockets? And when you roll back like that, it determines the sockets on the craft. So I was able to essentially have 4 more tries at getting a 4-socket thresher. Kind of lucked out a little bit there, and I ended up making this insight base. Picked a thresher because it's got faster attack speed, but I'm still looking for an ethereal base to put on my mercenary. But this one rolled 17 meditation aura and almost max enhanced damage. So I was like, oh crap, this thing's badass. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just use this for now. I'm probably going to use this for quite a bit of time before I'm able to upgrade it. Like I said, I'm still looking for an ethereal base. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my progression through Nightmare into Hell difficulty. Today I'm going to be just farming up a bunch of stuff. I'm probably going to do the same thing, just do a bunch of corrupted zones, maybe farm bosses for some keys. Yeah, I haven't traded anything yet, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. If you take a look at my charms, everything that I have in my charms are just life and res all over the place. So don't have any skillers yet, and I'm not sure what I can trade for just yet. Haven't really looked at the trade site. I've actually been having problems even logging into the trade site to check. Currently have, in terms of currency, I have a Gull rune, I got a Pole rune, I have 40 Worldstone shards, and I have just assorted items. So don't have too much in currency, but I'm sure I could purchase a good upgrade here or there that I can get. Once again, Mage Fist would be a great upgrade, and then trying to get some better other items. So, but yeah, I think from here, I don't know if I'm going to be posting too many update videos. I might post just like farming videos. I might do like 3 hours of corrupted zones, and I'll just show you guys what I get, stuff like that, and do run counters and things like that. That's what people like to do in Diablo 2. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll be playing this for a couple more days. We got Path of Exile 2 announcement coming up on Thursday. Maybe I'll go back to Path of Exile 1 and make a quick little build between the PoE 2 announcement and then the actual PoE 2 patch date, which is the following Friday. So we got a week there that I could play around there. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyways, thanks for hanging out, guys. Talk to you later. Peace out. Bye-bye.